she was just a girl, she expected the world, but it flew away from her reach, so she ran away in her sleep and dreamed of paradise, paradise.
So, do you know anything about how welfare or government assistance has changed over time?
Well, it used to not exist, but it's been kind of on an increasing trend to more assistance in the United States. Starting off with the New Deal, getting a lot more steam with LBJ's Great Society. The welfare state was a pretty cool idea well, I wouldn't say that we have the same system as a lot of countries around the world. Socialism and welfare sometimes has a dirty name in American society, but we have been increasing what we want to offer for people in terms of government assistance. I know that in the 1990s, under the Clinton administration, there was welfare reform and many benefits were cut in an effort to make the system more efficient. Lately, there's been Obamacare, and there's been different programs to help people in need that have increased the welfare reform.
Welfare revolution of FDR and other presidents like LBJ and JFK in the 20th century. Let's take a look. A long time ago, in a British colony far, far away, English poor laws were enforced as one of the first welfare policy actions. These policies, brought over to colonial America from the motherland, established public workhouses for the unemployed, and helped build many poorhouses such as orphanages and soup kitchens. Half a century after the U.S. gained independence from England, Americans began to move west. Remember the Trail of Tears? In 1824, the Bureau of Indian Affairs was basically a giant tissue box issued by the government as the first race-centered federal assistance welfare program aimed at protecting and aiding Native Americans. Welfare also came in the form of loony bins. In 1845, during the Great Awakening, Dorothea Dix led the social movement for the establishment of public mental asylums to protect the indigent insane. If you remember your APUSH, Freedmen's Aid Societies were established before the Civil War in the northern states to assist former slaves with education and supplies. This led to the creation of the first federal welfare agency, called the Freedmen's Bureau, to provide temporary relief, education, employment, and health care for the newly released slaves during Reconstruction. In 1910, several states passed workmen's compensation laws to protect wage earners from the economic risks of injury or unemployment. Recall that one summer where we had to read Upton Sinclair's The Jungle before starting AP English in junior year? The Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA, were one of the watchdog programs enacted to protect employees in the food industry. Likewise, in 1913, the U.S. Department of Labor was created to promote the welfare of American workers. World War I, one of the most traumatic wars for soldiers due to the condition of being shell-shocked, caused the government to create the U.S. Veterans Bureau, now U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, in 1930 to help PTSD veterans from the Great War get back into the labor force and provide trauma centers for the victims. Some programs also help the widows and families of deceased or handicapped veterans. The United States saw a revolution in welfare programs through President Franklin Delano Roosevelt when he initiated a New Deal for Americans and established major social welfare programs to combat unemployment and poverty. Programs include the Civilian Conservation Corps, the Civil Works Administration, the Federal Emergency Relief Administration, and later, the Works Progress Administration. Under FDR, the famous Social Security Act was signed into law. It not only established a retirement insurance program, but also established federal welfare programs that help states pay for and administer programs in old age assistance, aid to the blind, aid to dependent children, and general assistance for Americans in need who do not qualify for other forms of help. And finally, the GI Bill after World War II is probably one of the most popular forms of welfare. which provided enormous assistance to World War II veterans toward college admission and financial aid.
Who act irresponsibly, whether they're big banks or small borrowers. Government assistance to the banking system should be based on solely preventing systemic risk that would endanger the entire financial system and the economy. In our effort to help deserving homeowners, no assistance should be given to speculators.
Do you think government assistance should be revoked?
I think they should be provoked because the Republicans in the upper class are paying more for the lower class who aren't working, basically, and that's what I think. I don't have too much knowledge about it, but that's like my belief.
Do anybody that's on welfare?
I think so, but not really.
Okay, Brian Daniels, thank you for your time.
That doesn't answer the question of where should we cut the federal budget. To me, the answer is easy. We need to cut an area that actually hurts many of the people we claim we want to help. I'm talking about a set of programs known in Washington as means-tested welfare programs. Programs such as food stamps, public housing, Medicaid, and temporary assistance for needy families. They are means-tested, providing benefits to people below a certain income rate.
Are you employed?
No.
How do you feel about that?
I'm comfortable with it, and I feel like I don't need to look for one because I get a check from the government every month.
How much do you collect in benefits?
I get $780 in food stamps, $500 in TANF, and I get Medicaid and WIC.
You get free daycare, so if you have 4 kids or 6 kids, you get money for free daycare. So all of them can go to daycare. Most people, they have their friend as the daycare person, and they split the money. I heard all about it. And they split the money for that, and then you have the cash that they give you, and then the lights and gas and the free home. I mean, who would want to work in America? This is what the taxpayers are paying for.
I became unemployed, and then I found a part-time job, and then my hours downside. My paycheck or my salary is just not making it right now. So I need some government assistance right now.
My husband lost his job. We're struggling more, you know, loss of income. Trying to get help.
Maybe not all of us, but a good majority of us want to better ourselves, go to school, make a good education for ourselves, for the betterment of us.
Do you know anybody who uses government assistance or is in need of it?
I do actually. My aunt on my mother's side, she uses EBT because she's a single adult in a household of 3. So it's hard for her to support herself and support the amount that she has to pay for rent while still buying her own food and stuff. And she's really trying to save up for buying a car to make sure that she can have her own transportation. So she does use EBT to try to support her needs when it comes to groceries and stuff like that.